Howard Thomas, Expedition Diary. Day 1. I'm back in the restricted area and don't know how long my journey will last. Going to the abnormal zone used to be my trade. I was just getting valuables to sell. Now I have a different goal, to find artifacts with the help of that can change reality, correct past mistakes, or ones that grant wishes. I've never seen such items, but I've heard they exist. The easiest thing to do is box with anything. The artifact looks like an ordinary cube-shaped cardboard box. The way it works is this. You need to clearly visualize what's inside before you open it, and the desired thing will be inside. Only this item has a significant drawback. The box is too small. It could fit a cat, but not a person. And I don't know that the box can materialize anything living. I don't think that's going to help. That's if you could find the tear of the sun. But it's not a fact that it even exists. From the description, it's not an artifact, but rather a phenomenon. Floating luminous matter with a circular shape. It looks like ball lightning, but exudes a yellow light similar to a morning dawn. Locals tell us that the tear of the sun does not occur in any particular place. It was encountered in different neighborhoods around the city. It is possible to witness this phenomenon only by chance. No one who comes into this area now has ever seen a tear. Otherwise, why would they come back here now? Legend has it, the one who is gifted by the tear of the sun with its rays will find true happiness. Once you see its light, all the darkness of your soul will be dispelled. The past, present, and future pain will disappear. Your hardships will disappear, and from now on, you will have no need for anything. Happiness will be your destiny. I always thought they were good fairy tales. People need to believe in something beautiful. But now that my life has fallen apart, I'm willing to believe in anything that can right a past wrong, and I'm not leaving the zone until I find something that will do that. Otherwise, I can't live. Day 2. The true happiness for me was waking up again that morning when Tara told me,
Thomas, I don't want you going into that zone again. Whenever you leave, I fear that I will be left without you and our child without a father. What are you risking so much for?
And if only I had answered, you're right. We're parents. I've had enough of this prohibition. It's time to get out of the old life. But I answered, Tara, I'm trying for our future. A few more expeditions and our family will be provided for many years to come. No matter how many artifacts I raked into my stash, I couldn't get enough. And now that day can't be brought back, not for any treasure. Then I could have stopped and started another life. But instead, I went to that area taking out my stash. Some of my stuff, sold it, and bought Tara a brand new car. I just wanted to prove to her that it wasn't all for nothing. She dreamed of injecting. Here you go, take a ride. I know the wife was just pretending to be happy. She smiled and said thank you, but she didn't jump up and down. I guess she understood why I did what I did, and it became fatal. That gift soon killed her. My present and future collapsed after that disaster. An accident, a circumstance. Tara was on her way back from another inspection, and on her way she came across a lorry rattling with pipes. I want to rewind time, to go back to that morning and say, Tara, I promise I'll quit. I had a dream about her today. We were home, I promised her I'd always be there for her. And then I woke up again in this abandoned city with a feeling of emptiness. Only purpose keeps me from total despair. As long as there is faith that things can be fixed, I will keep looking. I want to see my wife again. I want to hear her voice. I want her to give birth to our boy. I know it sounds crazy, but I can't accept the loss. You have to try. Someone local must know how to grant my wish. The zone is full of wonders.
Day 3. Walked around the southwest side of town all day yesterday. I was looking for chance encounters with locals from the area, but only ran. Into kids. First on the coddler and then on the steel crab. No problems with the first one. I melted him with 2 shots, but the armor the second does not take anything. Steel crabs must be attacked with fire until they pile up inside there. Panzeries. I didn't have anything to burn it with, so I had to run. I had to run again today. I accidentally saved some girl from the zone named Karen. Or maybe I didn't save her. She got me in trouble. She's kind of suspicious. She won't tell me anything about herself any. Questions irritate her. But at least it's not so lonely now. We're sitting in some abandoned office, amidst overturned desks and broken ancient computers. This is where we set up camp tonight. Now, this Karen and I met under the strangest of circumstances. I stepped out of the alley onto the road, and she runs to meet me, clutching her backpack to her chest like her child. I thought she was running away from some animal, but it was followed by a man who looked like the devil. He wore a realistic mask to match the color of human skin. The nose of that mask was elongated and humped, and the ears with sharp cartilaginous and stuck up like a pig's. Only a psycho would dress like that. Plus, he was holding a fire axe. He ran after the girl down the extinct street, skipping over trash heaps. It was obvious who was the aggressor and who was the victim. But I never shot people, so I just picked up a rock and threw it at the guy's chest. His momentary confusion allowed the girl a decent amount of leeway. Here comes the axe-wielding psycho running after me.
Though it seemed I had a formidable weapon with me, one shot to the center of the body, and it would have a hole the size of a cherry pie on it. But I can't do that, but he can. I looked back on the run and saw the psychopath in the masked man threw the axe. He threw back the edge of his coat, sharply snatched a pistol from his pocket and pulled the trigger. There was a rumble, but not what I expected. It was a softer sound with a distinct whoosh. A red light burst out of the barrel and flew between me and the girl, leaving a trail of smoke. And in another second, a shell exploded ahead with a bright red flash. This guy fired a flare gun at us. What, was he going to burn us? That's stupid of him. The whole street was covered in smoke, and he didn't seem to guess in which direction we ran. When we hid, the girl only told me her name, but didn't explain anything. All she said was that this psychopath was going to kill her and rob her. Now she's sitting off to the side, peering at me with squinty eyes and asking what I'm writing there. But since she won't tell me anything, I won't either. Day 4. I'm on an adventure I don't need. We're hiding from the masked psycho with this lady again, and this time. Once in the dark, damp catacombs. The hustle began early in the morning when Karen and I managed to get out of the abandoned office. I hoped that our meeting was not a coincidence and this girl would tell me something useful, but she replied that she knew nothing about wish-fulfilling artifacts, and she called my idea stupid. We were going our separate ways. What good would we do each other? I had already told her bye, but suddenly that psycho in the creepy mask reappeared in front of us. Looks like he's been walking around all night. He came out from behind the phone booth and he had the axe in his hands again. Compared to my weapon, it's just a toy, but he had more determination. I pointed the gun at him and shouted, "Stop! I'll shoot!" hoping he'd realize what was in my hand is not a plastic toy at all. But the guy in the mask recognized my bluff. He moved confidently toward us with his axe and shouted for Karen in a bass voice.
"Give her to me."
I didn't pull the trigger because I didn't want to become a murderer for a girl I know nothing about. We're back on the run, looping through the streets, trying to get away from the madman with the axe. So we found ourselves next to an unfinished building. There was a staircase going underground. Karen shouted, "This way!" And without thinking, I ran after her. She led me into a maze of dark corridors and cluttered rooms. Shining my light around, I saw collapsed supports and a sagging concrete ceiling. This shelter did not inspire confidence. What a place you picked. We'd better not stay here. It's easy to get lost. I don't know what kind of creatures live here, I whispered. Karen didn't answer right away. She fussily rummaged through her backpack and pulled something questionable out of it. It was a origami fortune teller with numbers on the faces, a paper figurine of a Gradeka game, sort of like a random answer generator that fits any question. These are the kind of toys little girls entertain themselves with in order to find out who's in love with them. And a grown lady stood in front of me and seriously asked me to name a number. I chose a 4, and Karen made a few quick motions with her fingers, moving the folds of the paper. She then asked the figure,
Fortune teller, is this a safe place?
Again, she asked me to choose a number. I jabbed my finger at 1. Karen bent back the corner about the origami and read the answer. Yes. I didn't know how sane this girl was, so I asked, And do you have this as an artifact or just a paper toy? She growled like that.
Idiot. Of course it's an artifact. Did you think I was just playing with leaves here? This fortune teller always gives the right answers. Without her, I wouldn't have survived here. And that psycho in the mask wants to take it from me. You understand?
Of course I understood. She was holding a primordial artifact, not rare, but the only one. These appeared at the time of the disaster. The simplest things have been given unusual properties. A fortune teller about origami, my ass. A piece of paper that cannot be crumpled, torn or burned. Original artifacts forever, just like my hydrogel and balloon gun. I wonder what's worth more, my weapon or this paper that can answer any question, although maybe she's priceless with those capabilities. No wonder the masked guy wants it. He may be a big guy and he may seem like he's beaten to a pulp, but he needs to be dealt with. You can't hide all the time. We set up camp in one of the rooms and have been sitting here for a couple hours. Day 5. In the evening, I am alone again and can finally describe everything that has happened in the last 24 hours. Yesterday, as I was taking notes in the catacombs, I was distracted by the whistling of a rocket launcher. A red light flashed down the hallway past the room where we were sitting, and the walls shook from the explosion. The guy in the mask somehow guessed where we might be hiding. Alina hid behind the wall and asked him to turn off the lights, but I said I was tired of running. I'm sick of this psycho. It was time to fight back. I ran out into the hallway and yelled, "Hey, come here!" Karen didn't sit back either and joined me. She had a flashlight in one hand and a knife in the other. Our stalker slowly emerged from the darkness, dragging his axe behind him. His eyes gleamed predatorily in the slits of his mask. Just as suddenly, screams resembling a child's cry resounded through the dungeons, and we forgot our differences in a second. Each of us knew that this was the cry of the little ones, bloodsuckers that live in the dark places of the forbidden, small creatures, but they can kill anyone. They scream like babies and are the same size, but they don't look like human children at all. They are creepy, toothy tadpoles with a powerful tail growing from a round head. The minnows attack in packs. They jump on people, gnaw their throats, and drink their blood. Me, Karen, and that masked guy froze for a moment, listening to the screams of the approaching creatures. And then they all ran in the same direction to escape.
From a pack of hungry creatures, the girl and the masked guy were running side by side, and I could barely keep up with them. Something slippery dangled at my feet, and I realized that the minnows had caught up with us. There was a flood of them. They poured down the hallway. My ears filled with screams. I fired without looking back, crushing round heads with my boots and shouting to the others. "Cover your neck!" Alina pulled ahead. The masked guy was fighting off the minnows with an axe and suddenly shouted. 2 critters bit into his leg. As I ran past him, I realized that if I didn't help, he would be overwhelmed by an avalanche of blood-sucking creatures. Two opposing thoughts collided in my head in a second. The first one was, well, let it go, you can't risk yourself. And two, we need to help him. My conscience wouldn't let me leave him there. Risking myself, I threw his arm around my shoulder and dragged him forward. We made it to the stairs in time. Alina gave me a hand, and then we pulled out together out of the darkness of that masquerade. The minnows are afraid of sunlight, so the pack stayed downstairs. The two creatures that had sucked on the guy's leg immediately unhooked themselves and jumped back into the darkness with squeals. And I ripped the ugly mask off our pursuer. Underneath was a normal young man. It's not a big deal. Dark hair, pale eyes. He didn't look like the thug I was chasing. He was lying in the dust, hissing in pain. There were deep bites left on his leg. I found it hard to contain my anger, so I barked at him. We almost died because of you, and we saved you, so back off. The guy pointed at Karen and said, "Dat."
The girl snorted angrily and replied,
I didn't steal it. This artifact was carried to me by the wind. It literally fell into my hands. He chose me.
I got tired of their arguments, so I intervened. I said, "Not worth a dime, your fortune teller." Said the basements were safe, but there's a breeding ground for minnows. We almost got eaten. The guy sat up, enduring the pain, looked at us and said, I got tired of their arguments, so I intervened. I said, "Not worth a dime, your fortune teller." Said the basements were safe, but there's a breeding ground for minnows. We almost got eaten. The guy sat up, enduring the pain, looked at us and said,
Karen hesitated and asked the guy, "Then why do you need it?" And he answered,
I wanted to help my friend's family by selling the items and giving the money to his sister and mother, but the stash was looted. And then I saw the fortune teller in your hand, and I thought you stole it.
The girl kept snapping at him.
And you decided to kill me.
I wasn't going to touch you. I was just trying to scare you. Trust me, the best thing to do with this artifact is to take it out of the zone, sell it to a collector, and to warn you of the consequences. So be it. In honor of the award, it will be yours.
He wanted to believe. He was bleeding, but apparently out of pride, he did not ask for our help. We helped him, of course, stopped the bleeding, treated the bites, and bandaged him up. They called him Alex, by the way, and he wasn't such a bad guy. I gave up my part of the award, so Karen and Alex quickly agreed to split the proceeds between the two of them. They seemed to have hit it off, although not long ago, their relationship resembled characters from the old Tom and Jerry cartoon series. Before saying goodbye to them, I asked the girl to guess for me. She pulled an origami fortune teller out of her backpack, told her to pick a number and ask a question. I asked aloud, "I'll find what I came for." Karen made a motion with her fingers. There was a moment of excited anticipation, and I got a strange answer. Underneath the paper corner, in childish handwriting, was written, "You don't want to know." Karen waved her hands and said,
Sometimes a fortune teller harms and doesn't give a clear answer, but maybe you really don't want to know.
He wanted to believe. He was bleeding, but apparently out of pride, he did not ask for our help. We helped him, of course, stopped the bleeding, treated the bites, and bandaged him up. They called him Alex, by the way, and he wasn't such a bad guy. I gave up my part of the award, so Karen and Alex quickly agreed to split the proceeds between the two of them. They seemed to have hit it off, although not long ago, their relationship resembled characters from the old Tom and Jerry cartoon series. Before saying goodbye to them, I asked the girl to guess for me. She pulled an origami fortune teller out of her backpack, told her to pick a number and ask a question. I asked aloud, "I'll find what I came for." Karen made a motion with her fingers. There was a moment of excited anticipation, and I got a strange answer. Underneath the paper corner, in childish handwriting, was written, "You don't want to know." Karen waved her hands and said,
Sometimes a fortune teller harms and doesn't give a clear answer, but maybe you really don't want to know.
Alex in turn advised, "Don't trust this thing. People submitted to her life, and she killed them." They managed to negotiate and left together. Their expedition was over, but mine was not. I don't know what to think of this from VT, but I'll keep looking. Either I find what I'm looking for or I stay here forever. There's no turning back. Day 6. Empteen SS. Silent. Only the wind whispers in the ruins of an abandoned city. I wander around the area, hoping to meet some other locals. But everywhere is empty. There are only decaying buildings everywhere, like ghosts of the past. Looking at the desolation, it's hard to believe there was once life here. People called this place their city. They loved, dreamed, and made plans. Could any of them have imagined such a future? Now there's only ruin, anomaly, and creepy monsters. A city of broken destinies. This is where I belong. All the beautiful things in my life are already in the past. I feel despair, but I keep looking. Day 7. I've never stayed in the zone this long before. Met a few guys, but none of them gave me any valuable advice about artifacts. Now I think the answer you don't want to know is quite specific. He means no. After all, I would like to know about the safe outcome of my expedition. A yes answer would be a welcome one for me, and I'm terrified to find out I'm going to fail. So it makes sense. I'll never find what I'm looking for, and I'll just disappear into the zone. What's the point of continuing the search? Day 8. Came to a neighborhood of new buildings. There are always people here, but no one to talk to because they are all pets. That's what I call people who are trapped in a house of mold. And this is a high-rise building entangled in the black vines of a giant plant. Blood-red fruit grows on its branches. Cherries of paradise. Those who eat them go crazy, immersing themselves in their own fantasy world. The pets are like zombies living in a moldy house, walking around the yard and talking to themselves. And what made everyone eat the very first berry? Didn't they know how dangerous it was? Looking at them, I feel a sense of dread. These people were like everyone else, and now they don't even know where they are, wandering around with smiles on their faces. But at least they look calm and happy. I don't. Day unknown, I don't know how long I've been in the zone. I'm ashamed to admit that I ate a cherry of paradise. I was hungry and they looked so tempting, bulging red fruits. Thought it wouldn't hurt if I ate just one. I can't lie, it was beautiful. The black mold showed me what I wanted to see. It was like I was in a magical dream. Sasha was with me like she was alive. This illusion seemed more real than life itself. I forgot about being in the anomalous zone. I felt like I was at home, and my wife, who is due to give birth to our baby boy soon, was beside me. I had forgotten that she had ever died. We were happy. And then I came to my senses in a dirty apartment with those black branches on the walls everywhere. Realizing I was delirious, I fled the new construction area, never to return there. Who am I kidding, though? Myself. Then why did I take my gun to the stash house? I just know there's nothing dangerous about mold in a moldy house, except mold itself. Only a tiny part of me still wants to keep searching, but I've just about given up. It's such a temptation. I want so much to forget the painful past again and sink into my dream with my beloved by my side. But it's not true. It's all a lie. If I go back in there and pick the berries, there's no chance of Tara coming back. She'll stay dead. I have to forget about the mold house and keep looking, for Tara's sake and our baby's. Day. It's just a day. It's definitely daytime. Found this notebook in my stuff today and realized it was mine. That's weird. It's my handwriting, but it doesn't look like I wrote it. I don't get it. What kind of expedition is this? Zone, Karen, Alex, who are these guys? I don't remember those. I don't remember when I wrote it either. I haven't been in the zone in ages. There's nothing for me to do there. There's also some nonsense written here about Tara, like she's dead. The horror. Maybe I used to write down my scary dreams. It's a good thing I don't have nightmares now. All I had to do was quit going to the zone. I don't regret it one bit. We have enough to do. There's nothing wrong with Tara. We're getting ready for the baby. We bought a crib, toys. We're all set. We're good. I don't know why I'm getting all this joy. What if I saw a tear of sunshine once in the zone, but I don't remember it? It's summer outside. There's a nice breeze blowing. The city is blooming. I'm finally happy. Day. Found this book today. I don't get it. Expedition. Zone. Who are these guys? I don't remember when I wrote it. I haven't been in the zone for ages. It says something about Tara. Are these scary dreams? Nightmares don't bother me.
Everything is enough. There's nothing wrong with Tara. We're getting ready for the baby. We bought a crib, toys. It's done. We're good. We're good. It's summer outside. Everything's fine. Nice breeze. The city is blooming. I'm happy. Cherries are delicious. Cherries are delicious. Cherries are good.